My opening monologues these last few weeks have been heavy. They've been intense. Been feeling a lot of heavy feelings like sorrow and anger and fear. But here today, I just came to talk a little cards because at least for the moment I feel better. I feel clear in my purpose. So, welcome to the Rated Rabbi Sports Card Podcast, where sports cards and pop culture meet the 1984 All Star Game. I am your host, Rabbi David Spinrad, and this is episode 43. Eat it. Before we begin, I want to point out some updates I've made to the background over my right shoulder. I've got a new case with four rack packs, 3 from 1978, 1 from 1984. I'm going to walk you through them for those of you listening at home. Nothing really that valuable, but personally, it's super cool. Top rack pack, my first favorite player in the center cell. All these are BBCE wrapped, I might add. They are authenticated. Top rack, 1978 Topps center cell. My first favorite player, SF Giant, Jack Clark. I love that. Oh my God. That's such a imprint card for me, the 78 Jack Clark. Second one down, another one of those touchstone early collector's card, also 1978, this time in the left cell, 1978 Topps Willie McCovey. Next to him in the center cell is failed catching prospect Gary Alexander. Alexander actually was dealt in 1978 to the A's as part of that Vita Blue trade. Third one down, the 1978 most valuable player in the left cell of that gorgeous rack pack, the Cobra, Dave Parker. And I don't have to tell you how I feel about Dave Parker. Love that card. Early Dave Parker, right? He's got the cool white jersey with the yellow pinstripes with a black outline. Bottom rack, breaking away from 1978, we have got 1984 Donruss, unquestionably a great set, perhaps the greatest set of the 1980s in terms of aesthetics. I love the swirl. Certainly the best Donruss set of the decade. Best Fleer? Go 87 Fleer. 1984 Donruss BBCE rack pack, bottom row of the case over my right shoulder. Who is that? Front right cell? Why, none other than the chicken, man. Love the chicken. Love the chicken. Crushes the Philly fanatic. Love the chicken. I have the chicken cards in 83 and 84 raw somewhere in my collection, but a rack pack with the chicken on front. Come on. Are you with me? We got a hunch you'll love the baseball bunch. I used to love that show. Tommy Lasorda would come on like he'd be like the Karnak, the wizard kind of guy with his head all wrapped up in the turban. Ozzie Smith, regular, of course, the host was none other than Johnny Bench. And Johnny got all the A-listers. Who else was on there? Pete Rose, everybody. So good. Not a lot of baseball bunch paraphernalia to be found online. I've looked. I definitely have to bring it into a later episode. So top to bottom, Jack Clark in the 78 rack, followed by Willie McCovey, 78 rack, then Dave Parker, 78 rack. Bottom one, that is the chicken, 84 Donruss. A couple of other unopens over my shoulder. We've got a 1979 NFL rushing leaders. Cello pack is the horizontal one. In that second bottom row, horizontal 1979 rushing leaders. My two favorite running backs in NFL history are Walter Payton and Earl Campbell, and they shared this magnificent card together. I used to have it in a PSA 9, but I decided I would move off it because I just thought the rack pack was, the cello pack was just cooler. Next to that, I have a CAS encased two cellos. On one side, you have Speed, that's Ricky Henderson. On the other side, you have Power, that's Reggie Jackson. A combo card, 83 Fleer, Speed, and Power encased side by side. And then my favorite defender of all time next to them, that's a 1982 Ronnie Lott in an unopened cello. Top row is a work in progress. I've got the mosaic busteds. Those are the busts of Jerry Rice and Emmett Smith. And at PSA right now is actually my ticket stub from the 2010 Hall of Fame enshrinement ceremony. It's been autographed by both Rice and Emmett Smith. Got those autos myself, sent it off to PSA, and once that comes back, I'll put that right in the middle. Behind me, I've got a different picture of Dwight Clark, kind of a stencil thing there, and I moved over these cool little wooden plaques I bought off a guy in a Facebook vintage baseball Facebook group. I've got the 48, 49 Jackie Leaf and the 33 Gowdy card 149, the red one, Babe Ruth. If you want to know what I'm dreaming about, someday I'm going to have one of those 33 Ruths card 149, PSA 1, PSA 1.5. I'm being patient, and honestly, I don't have nearly enough money to buy that card right now, but I'm saving up. I'm making my way. All right, that's enough of what's behind me. There's more things to talk about, including those pop shops over my other shoulder, some of those cool baseball player comic book covers, Mr. October, Reggie Jackson, and the Hebrew Hammer, Hank Greenberg, just to name two. We are headed to the bottom half of the fourth inning. Mets right fielder, the starting right fielder for the National League in the All-Star game, Darryl Strawberry steps up for his second trip, stands in against Jack Morris out for his second inning, lines the first hit he sees, first pitch he sees for a hit to right. Winfield, who's moved over from left to right, taking over for Reggie as Ricky Henderson entered the game in left. Winfield up with it, throws it in, lead off hit for Darryl Strawberry. That brings up Gary Carter, the catcher, still on the Expos, who lined a homer in his first at-bat. Here he hits the first pitch, pops it a mile high. Brett comes in, makes the play between home and third, brings up Ozzie Smith. Strawberry at first, 1 out. Ozzie 2 swings at the first pitch. Ozzie 2. It's a high pop up. This one drifting towards the seats. George Brett giving chase. If you remember Candlestick Park or Oakland Coliseum today, the foul ground is just cavernous. And I thought that was normal. Like, I go to a game and you'd be so far from the field because it was multi-purpose. The Niners played football with left field being one end zone and going all the way across towards the first base line. I thought that's how all baseball stadiums were. I remember the first time I went to Fenway in 1991 and walking out right behind home plate downstairs and being so close to the field, like the monster. I felt like I could touch it. But at Candlestick, we were way, way far away from the field. Brett running. Mind you, he's never played a game at Candlestick Park in his life. Chasing. Such an incredible play. Sense of where the stands are. Puts out a hand, makes a great snag. Ozzie's out on the pop fly, 2 away. So far, Morris has only thrown 3 pitches. Got 2 outs, runner on first. Up steps Jerry Mumphery in his one and only All-Star appearance. Mumphery representing the Houston Astros. I've got Mumphery's 1984 Topps card here for you, friends. 84, not a lot of great action shots. Just him at BP posing in the cage. Got that second picture in the square box, kind of a portrait. 1984 Jerry Mumphery in a PSA 9. How am I going to sell these someday? I need a graded Jerry Mumphery card. Mumphery actually had a pretty good career, though, right? Although this is the only All-Star game, he's here up pinch hitting for Fernando Valenzuela. He did play 15 years in the big leagues. It was a high pick for the St. Louis Cardinals. Can never make it with them. Gets traded to San Diego, who trade him to Cleveland, who actually trade him to trade him to San Diego before he actually ever plays a game. So he goes St. Louis, then he goes Cleveland, then he goes San Diego, and then he ends up on the New York Yankees. Gets traded, plays for them beginning in 1981. 80 games, actually has a real good season, 1981 for the Yanks. If you remember, that's the year of the strike. He his 307, actually gets some MVP votes, finishes 20th in the most valuable player voting. Not a real power guy, had some speed, decent glove, more of like a singles hitter, but came up big for the Yankees after they signed him. Like I said, hit 307. Didn't come up big in the World Series, although he was pretty good in the divisional playoffs, first round against the A's, where he went 6-for-12. What I remember about Jerry Mumphery is Steinbrenner was relentless. Oh my God. For some reason, George Steinbrenner decided to make Jerry Mumphery his whipping boy. And Jerry Mumphery wasn't that kind of ball player. He was low key, right? Not a big city guy. But after that 1981 season, the boss signed Mumphery to a real big contract, 5 years, $3 million. You think about the money, 1980s, 600 grand a year for Jerry Mumphery. He was throwing it around, spending it like a drunken sailor on leave, and Steinbrenner regretted it and used to berate Mumphery, really like actually mess with his confidence. 1983, Mumphery gets traded to Houston. In return, the Yankees acquire Omar Moreno. Say that one with me. Tell me that's not one of the very best names in baseball history. We Are Family, 1979 Pittsburgh Pirates starting center fielder, leadoff hitter, blindingly fast. Say it with me. Omar Moreno. I totally forgot to grab a Moreno card. Maybe I'll bring one next time. Remember that? I remember him being a double A. He was so fast and stratomatic. So when Mumphery goes to Houston, big city, but not a spotlight, and he plays really well. Recovers his batting stroke. Clearly, he is the all-star representative for a real lousy Houston team, a team that had so little power that actually, even though he only hits 9 home runs for the entire 84 season, the Astros bat him fourth quite a bit. After the 84 season, Mumphery gets moved over to right because this team needs power. And who do they bring in? Well, future San Francisco Giant, Kevin Bass. So many names, so many ball players. Remember Kevin Bass? Actually, was a pretty good player for the Giant. Mumphery ends up later on getting traded to the Chicago Cubs. Who? Matt, 1956 Topps guy. Are you listening? Billy Hatcher. Billy Hatcher goes to Houston in exchange for Jerry Mumphery. All right, let me show you a little graphic that comes up while Mumphery is at the plate batting against Jack Morris. There we go. Morris on the hill, Mumphery at the plate. ABC Sports presents Friday night ABC's Major League Baseball, a special Friday night edition. I don't remember this. I remember Monday Night Football, of course. Remember Monday Night Football was king of kings. There was no Sunday night back then. And it was so big they did Monday Night Baseball. But this is a special edition Friday night coming out of the All-Star break. We got a doubleheader. Or, no, I'm sorry, it's not a doubleheader. It's either or, depending on what region you were in. Some of us saw New York Mets at the Atlanta Braves. The rest saw Milwaukee at California. Who started that game for the Atlanta Braves? Why, none other than, you can't talk about 1980s baseball. You can't talk about the 1980s without Pascual Perez. Ladies and gentlemen, we finally get episode 43. We finally get to Pascual Perez. Remember this guy? Oh my God. Let's start with first what he did as a professional, his athletic accomplishments. Drafted first 1976 by the Pirates. Breaks in 1980, 1982. Pascual Perez gets traded to the Atlanta Braves for this guy. Hold up a card. Let me take him down for a second. Larry McWilliams, seen here in a Pirate uniform, 1986 Fleer. Pascual Perez gets traded for Larry McWilliams, ends up on the Braves. And that's actually a real good pitcher for them for a couple of years, right? 82, 83. 83 actually makes the All-Star team. Real consistent, wins like 15-8 one year, 15-7 another year. But Pascual Perez was kind of an erratic cat, right? When you think about Pascual Perez, do you think about the multiple cocaine suspensions? Perhaps, right? That happened in 86. Happened in 80, in 90, and again in 92 when he failed the drug test and never returned to MLB again. Or do you remember Pascual Perez's incredible that all his antics on the mound, including one thing where you can totally find this on YouTube. He would look through his legs at the runner on first base as he's holding him on. He would, instead of looking over his shoulder, he would bend down, look through his legs, and you can find this somewhere on the internet. He makes a snap throw to try to pick the runner off through his legs. Do you remember him for that? Maybe. Do you remember him for the 18 pounds of gold jewelry he's wearing? Like in this, how 80s is this pictures, listeners? Let me describe what friends are looking at. First of all, Pascual Perez has a white pair of pants on, a black shirt. The shirt is unbuttoned somewhere between the middle of his chest and his belly button. So there's a lot of chest showing, and he's got at least one, two, three gold medallions, thick gold chains on each one, including, it looks like Pascual Perez throwing a pitch. Looks like one of his medallions, thick gold chains. And what else can I tell you about Pascual Perez? Look at the hair, man. Look at that Jheri Curl. We're gonna talk Jheri Curl in a minute. He got like the puffy on the front and like the black hair mullet puffy thing in the back. Pascual Perez. You maybe remember him for his antics. Maybe you remember him for just being an outsized personality. Or maybe you remember Pascual Perez for the time he got lost as an Atlanta Brave and couldn't find the ballpark. Now, in fairness, I lived in Atlanta for 5 years. It's ringed by the perimeter. It's called I-285. It could happen to you. You could get lost. Back before there were cell phones, GPS, it could happen. Pascual Perez, there's 85 and there's 285. They told him to take 285. He took 85 and he got lost. He ends up making, some say 2, others say 3. I think it's either 70. I think it's 70 miles is the perimeter, this big circle of freeway that goes all the way around Atlanta. And Pascual Perez gets lost. He circles 2 times. Some say he circles 3 times. Finally, he pulls over because he's running late and he's running out of gas, pulls into a gas station. The gas station attendant, he's listening to the radio, the Braves pregame. He's like, "Yo, man, you're supposed to be at the ballpark." And Perez like, "I can't find it." So and he doesn't have his wallet. No, like he can't get lost. He's got no money, no ID. The gas station attendant gives him $10 in gas, gets him on the road. Perez shows up right after the game started. He misses the start. Phil Necro ends up making the start in his place. So legendary story. 2 more pieces about what they call them, perimeter Pascal or Pascual Perez perimeter, or whatever they called him. 2 things. So the Braves have been stumbling. You remember 1982, they're going to win the NL West, but they've been stumbling. They'd lost 19 out of 21 at that point. It turns out this major blunder totally helps the team to break the tension. It relaxes the team. They laugh it off. They go on to win 13 out of 15, and they win the National West in 1982. I want to show you the second thing about his misadventure getting lost on 285 and driving in circles around Atlanta trying to find the ballpark. Check this out. Oh, what happened? There we go. For those of you listening, it's a Braves jacket, and the back of it says Perez I-285. I remember this, and I remember it wasn't just like a one-time thing. He wore this jacket. I've seen it reported differently in different places. Some say for the rest of the season, some say for a couple of years. But I love that he has a sense of humor about it. They made him a jacket, Perez I-285. Oh, man. That's a good memory. Makes me feel good. He wears out his welcome in Atlanta, ends up in Montreal. Actually, there's a couple real good low ERA seasons for the Expos. Ends up with the Yankees again. What I said about, unfortunately, about the challenges he had with the Coca, kind of ends his career a little bit earlier than it might otherwise have been. What else can I tell you about him? The brother of Carlos Perez and brother of Melido Perez, 3 brothers, all from the same family, all in the major leagues. The card I'm going to show you is his 1984 Topps, finishing his release. The portrait actually is more fun than him on the mound. I'm going to take it out of my penny saver so you can see it better. Hold it up. Little portrait, little fluffy Jheri Curl poking out the back. Delightful. Whatever happened to Pascual Perez? Well, that bit of news, Pascual Perez, 2012, gets murdered in San Cristobal, which is where he's from in the Dominican Republic. They say that it was a home invasion, and they were trying to find his money and whatever he had of value, and they shot him in the head. Sad ending to Pascual Perez's life. Let's talk about Jheri Curl for a second. What is Jheri Curl? 1980s, very popular. You might remember Eric LaSalle in Coming to America has that Jerry Curl hairdo, and the running joke, it kind of leaves like a greasy mark everywhere you sit. So it's a two-part process, Jerry Curl. It's a curl relaxer, right? It makes the tight black hair, tight afro. It loosens the tight curls. Yeah. Heavy chemical. And then there's another chemical you put on the second in the two-part process for Jerry Curl, actually sets the curls. And you put in some people put in like small curlers. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You know what Jerry Curl looks like. I want to show you probably the quintessential wearer of Jerry Curl. Crushed it in 83 and 84 with Thriller. Michael Jackson. If you're listening at home, Google Michael Jackson Thriller album cover. You'll get a great picture of those loose curls that Michael had, including that one little adorable dangling curl down the middle. Oh, Michael, so sad. Michael grew the Jericho look out long. His next style, I remember Bad. He has like the long, kind of like little like ponytail knot thing in the back. Michael Jackson Thriller. How did we get here? How did we get where we were? Went from Pascual Perez to Jheri Curl to Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson 2. Michael Jackson 2. Well, what were the big hits off of Thriller? Thriller, of course. Billie Jean, my personal favorite. And Beat It. Oh my. Beat It. Remember the video? Like these two gangs having a dance off, and there was always the big deal in the video, like, oh, they're actual real gang members. Oh my God. You might like Beat It. I'm more of a Billie Jean fan myself. You might like Beat It, but you know what I prefer? I prefer Eat It. 1984. Oh my God. If it lines up any better, I'm going to plot. 1984 is when the great Weird Al Yankovic releases Eat It. Wins a Grammy. Can you believe that? Wins a Grammy for the best song, like best comedy song, right? Best comedy recording. It's so good. And what's great about this is it's shot by shot. It's just like the video for Beat It, but there's like a bunch of comedy things put in there. Remember the song? How come you're always such a fussy young man? Don't want no Captain Crunch, don't want no Raisin Bran. Why don't you know other kids are starving in Japan? Just eat it. Just eat it. I'm such a dork. Oh my God. But come on. I've been helping myself feel better lately. Listen to a lot of Weird Al. I might have to go back for more Weird Al. It's just I'm super excited that it turns out that Eat It came out in 1984, so I could spend a little bit of time down the Weird Al rabbit hole. What's your favorite Weird Al song? Are you an Amish Paradise guy? That's a good one. Amish Paradise is real good. I think my favorite is Pretty Fly for a Rabbi. Take off of Pretty Fly for a White Guy from The Offspring. Pretty Fly for a Rabbi. I like that. That might be my alt theme song. All right. I got to tell you one more story. I got to circle back on Pascual Perez one more time. Just a month later, 32 days after the 1984 All-Star Game, August 12th, 1984 is one of the great brawls, one of the great brouhahas, one of the great instances of fisticuffs in MLB history. Atlanta is taking on the San Diego Padres. Atlanta's in second, but the truth is, it's the Padres' year. They're 10 and a half up in the middle of August. August 11th, also my anniversary, by the way. August 11th, Alan Wiggins is driving the Braves crazy on three separate occasions in a game they're winning big. Wiggins tries to bunt for a base hit, and Perez is in the dugout, like talking smack like they do, right? The next day, Perez takes the hill as the day's starting pitcher. Wiggins leading off the game. What does Pascual Perez do? He drills him right off the bat. Tempers are hot from the get go. Eddie Whitson, bottom half of the second inning, facing Pascual Perez, throws at him, misses him, throws a wild pitch. Comes up again, bottom half of the fourth. Whitson throws at him once. Whitson throws at Perez twice. Whitson throws at Pascual Perez 3 times. Home plate umpire Steve Ripley seen enough. He ejects Whitson. He ejects Padre manager Dick Williams. But we're just getting started. Ozzie Virgil takes over, second manager of the day for the Padres. In the 6th, Virgil would be ejected. Coach Jack Kroll. Now we're on the 3rd coach for the Pods that day. 8th inning, Craig Lefferts is on the hill. What does he do? He drills Pascual Perez. They finally get Perez. Bench is clear. Kroll ejected. That's 1, 2, 3 managers ejected on the same team in the same game. Oh my God. Bob Horner has a broken wrist up in the press box wearing a cast. Before this had happened, everything's bad blood brewing. Actually leaves the press box, goes into the clubhouse, puts on a uniform, and gets ready to brawl. And brawl he does. He gets in the middle of it because he's not even on the active roster. He can't get ejected. It's so incredible. Champ Summers, who he fought with, does get kicked out. At the end of it, when it's all said and done, there's more hit by pitches. There's more fighting. When it's all said and done, 12 Padres and 5 Braves have been ejected. 17 guys ejected in a single game. Crew chief John McSherry, tempers were so high on that hot August day, he actually orders all the players off the benches and into the clubhouses. Anything that had to happen would happen from the clubhouse. Players had to sit in front of their lockers waiting to be whatever's going to happen. You're going to pinch hit, you got to go play defense, whatever. Benches were empty. Oh my. 4th manager of the day was Harry Dunlap. He finished it out. He's a bullpen coach. Padres running out of guys to run the team. Post-game quotes were doozies. One that kind of stood out for me came from Braves manager Joe Torre, among the ejected as well. He called what Williams did, he said it was gutless. He said it stinks. He said it was a Hitler-like action. Pardon me, Joe Torre. Throwing a ball at a guy, a little fight in the field. Maybe we won't call it like a Hitler-like, but given the circumstances. All right. I got actually one card I want to show you before I say goodbye. Let's circle back to Weird Al. Let's circle back to 1984's Eat It, the Grammy Award winning. I've got a card. I've got an amazing official Weird Al Yankovic limited edition trading card, just like that. I'm going to go full screen so you can see it at home. There I is. Weird Al. Got the zipper jacket like Michael. Thumb down, hand out. Weird Al Yankovic, Eat It. Same font as the Thriller album cover, man. Woo! I feel better. I feel much, much better. What we do today? Talk a little bit about baseball. Kept it light. Very necessary. Needed to breathe and feel some spaciousness. So we talked about Jerry Mumphery, who, by the way, I forgot to tell you what he did. He struck out, side retired. His one game, his one at-bat, he Ks against Jack Morris. You remembered Jerry Mumphery, how Steinbrenner just despised him, just tortured poor Jerry Mumphery, acquired from Houston for Omar Moreno. Talked about Friday night baseball, led us to Pascual Perez, led us to Coca, led us to being unfortunately murdered by a home invasion, led us to him being lost on I-285, talked about Jheri Curl, talked about Michael Jackson Thriller, which led us to Beat It, which led us to Weird Al, which led us to Eat It. What else did we do? Well, we talked about this incredible brawl between the Padres and the Braves, August 12th, 1984. Okay. Next week, we have an episode I have been waiting and waiting and waiting ever since before I ever recorded the first one. We're going to get into the top half of the fifth inning. And on the mound is going to be 19-year-old phenom. A flash of lightning, a bolt in the sky. Dwight Gooden taking the mound for the National League All-Stars. Probably work in some other goofy pop culture stuff. Thinking it might be fun to start bringing on guests. I know I've been talking about that since July, but I haven't gotten to do it yet, mostly because I want to do it right and do it right without adding a ton more of work on my part. If you'd like to be a guest, what I want to do is have people on to talk about some special season and some special team of your choice, a season and a team, something related to music, a boomboxable, something you could have played on a portable stereo or watched on a screen, a movie, a TV show, or a commercial. Got to be from the 1980s, a season, a team, a boombox, a screen. I know I've been talking about it for 4 or 5 months, but I move slowly. I am deliberate. I like to do things right. If you'd like to be a guest, send me an email, theratedrabbi@gmail.com. Leave a comment. Tell a friend about this pod. Do all those things that you're supposed to ask people to do. And until I see you again next week, and until we open up our hearts to the great Dr. K, may you enjoy and may you be blessed with health and with long life. So long for now.